Are you live? What happened? Why? Oh. Oh, there it is. Shazbot. No, I'm pulling up the thing. Yeah, so hopefully, yeah, see, I can see the chat now. I don't, yeah, these late night, man, that's not for me. Are you my,
So I'm like, I guess I'm just taking Sunday off.
say hi to AC. She's here.
Hi, Miss Carpenter. Instead, we're gonna move a bed frame. We're stealing the one from her place and putting it here. Yeah, that way we have a queen bed frame. Probably Sunday now.
Why? What happened Saturday? I'm doing good. I'm a little disappointed. I was supposed to have a big thunderstorm and I got nothing.
About to storm though. You know when you look up and the clouds are all like, we're gonna start storming?
Oh, through the storm, and your heads held high. You'll never walk alone. Old Man River, that old man river. Aren't you gonna ask AC how she's doing?
How are you doing, AC? See? I just do my best. I've been cleaning most of my day, waiting for Olive Garden.
I thought it was closed.
Asked about it
This place was emptier than a Tourette's meeting.
on Monday, right? You said that's next week?
Is not this Monday. I think it's a week from this Monday.
Out today, like driving wise, it's been insane. Like I've been in traffic most of the day.
People are out.
Everybody's out doing their thing.
I was in Sammy's about 10:10. It was already unglued.
Crazy today. No matter what time of day it is, they're all crazy.
Fire vids. Saggy orange. Glitchy. Ah. That must be some form of Esperanto.
Garden, and they said they'd get back to me next week.
Oh, here's my advice. A copy of Lady and the Tramp and watch it 10 times.
If I start working out with that new ring fit, maybe my back won't hurt as bad. Get it? What? Dude, that was a killer deal. Come on. It was only 20 bucks for the game, the ring, and the straps. Yeah.
But then I had to go way out of my way to get back to the freeway because there was no left turn there.
I really appreciate.
I uh and the guy the information I had, that's why I was calling you because I couldn't figure out the place was really weird. It was the guy standing out by the curb with his thumb in his butt. I mean, he sees a strange car like mine, and he don't say anything?
Remember, he just needed a quick 20, so
I don't think it woulda yeah, I don't think it woulda lasted long.
well, I was looking for one of those cheap for a while, and it was too far away. You came through.
Conditioner. Mm,
Yeah, it's from Vine.
you covering your face.
Is that better?
Yeah, but how weird is that, right?
I guess they don't have the menu to look at, so it probably looks like nothing to them.
Yeah, I don't even know what that stuff does.
I see a magic, change my background, turn off my mic.
You can change your background?
I think so, but it's gonna make it glitchy.
Um, and
That's usually how
what's the magic wand? What does that do?
looks like some kinda AI tool,
Oh, I don't like that.
would be my guess.
They're already taking all our jobs.
Well, they're taking my job. Apparently, they got robots over there cleaning dishes.
Maybe making pasta too.
Yeah. I don't know, when I went, it was better than a friend's of the library, but it was right before the big rush.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long that place can stay in business here.
Which is a shame because I love Olive Garden.
Maybe because of where it is or what. They should have put it here, because then it would have
We
been busy 24/7.
because it's the only good food in the area.
We got nothing. Although apparently that 7 Coffees opened today and jammed up all the streets.
Oh, yeah, people go nuts over 7 Brew, dude.
Well, I guess they're free today?
Yeah, that checks out. Remember, I was going to all those free days?
I'll bet. You're a
Our
real
con
schnorrer.
our Conway one had, like, 4 free days, like, where you get a free small drink
Well, I
just
guess
for.
they're in business now.
Yep, and tomorrow I remember why I needed to be in town tomorrow. Tomorrow is swag day at 7 Brew for mine.
What does that mean? A T-shirt
I
or something?
get a T-shirt and a large drink.
Wow, for free?
You gotta buy the drink to get the shirt,
Oh, well.
but I want the shirt.
How much is a coffee there?
I don't know. Their drinks are usually like for a large, like maybe $6,
$6?
6 or 7.
Last time I was in Starbucks, I bought a coffee, $8.50.
Hey, look at me. 7 Brew ain't Starbucks, and your points actually do something over there.
Restaurants are a crapshoot. Think maybe what she means is, opening them
Work.
to see if you can make it work. Olive Garden ought to make it work, but I just read an article that Texas Roadhouse is the number 1 casual restaurant in the United States now.
We do all love Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, they put on a good show.
It is pretty.
Except for all the loud music and the dancing around while I'm trying to eat my salad.
Oh, we're doing a bunch of that. I love it.
Well, we better get going because it's 7:05, and you know what that means.
Oh, okay. It's Star Trek time.
Yep. Hello, laser brain.
Hello, Laser Brain. Sorry I was gone last week. I wasn't feeling well.
A lot of people said you were faking.
Well, thank you.
It was the
I was
government.
I was sort of in bed going, ugh. So I probably wouldn't have been very interesting anyway.
I think that says
6 bucks.
$6. No, I paid 8.50.
No, we're talking about my drink. It just depends
Oh.
on what that's isn't that the case with anything? But I do think 7 Brew is marginally cheaper than Starbucks.
Yeah, well, my coffee cost me about 35 to 40 cents, so
Yeah, the at home one.
and I don't have to drive to the store or get in line or order it or have the girl go, "Huh?"
but
and then repeat it.
but I get a free
Yeah.
shirt
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Whatever.
You don't get a free shirt sitting at home.
Supposed to be talking about Star Trek. You ever hear of it?
Yeah,
You ever hear of TOS?
yeah. I watched it on Fandango.
By the way, William Shatner is touring the country. You watch Wrath of Khan in a theater, and then he comes out and gives you some word jazz.
Are they doing it in Arkansas?
Nope.
They never are.
Doesn't that stink?
They never do anything here.
Well, he came to the thing, right?
Yeah, that's just because we were having a Comic Con. That's a little bit different.
I mean, at the size of that Comic Con, I don't know. But I want to talk about this. And it's probably backwards because of what we're doing. Here, this'll fix it. Oh,
Perfect.
that didn't work either.
Miss Carpenter says, "Lol, I didn't say she was faking."
Oh, I didn't name names.
Yeah.
Look at the
Woo!
condition of this tape.
That's nice.
I could eat my
Ew.
lunch off of that.
I broke one of my Arthur tapes the other day.
Gay. Looks like you froze. All right, well, I'll talk about Star Trek. This is one of those famous episodes where if you don't know the episode, you certainly know. The picture that I put up that the thumbnail is for this video, it's the dog that they stuck a horn on and then two wiry antenna. And you can see the way it's made because they put a toupee over the dog's head, and then that stuff is attached that way. Howdy. Hope you like Star Trek. So that's what you know. But this is another one of those episodes. If you're someone like me who has seen endless amounts, our friend is coming back. I was just talking. Oh, I just got a tornado watch.
Oh, do you think that's why my LTE just died?
I can't believe that I'm going to be sucked up in a tornado.
Maybe that's why everybody's on their LTE right now. They're all hunkering down.
I was talking about the dog and the cone head they gave him and the antenna.
Yeah, it was a horn that, and it was a costume, a dog costume, if you will.
Well, actually, if you look closely, I had it up here. I could see it, and I watched it on Blu-ray because the player is not set up. Still
Hmm.
having trouble, even though this is supposed to be Betamax, but whatever. Um, the dog had a toupee on,
Oh,
and
fun.
then the cone was stuck to the toupee, and then the horns or whatever those were antennae.
I really like that dog. I gotta be honest.
Pretty funny.
I was watching it and I'm like, that's a good dog right there.
But what I was going to say was, if you've watched a lot of Star Trek, you will be familiar with the transporter accident episode.
Wouldn't this be the first of its kind? Like
Yeah,
we're
I
good?
guess so. It's hard to say because we're watching in production order, not broadcast order.
That's true.
So I don't know.
This was al-
Nader.
this was also that episode where the pinch got created. The Vulcan pinch.
Oh, is that the first time you've seen that?
That's the first time. Do you know the story?
Yeah, Leonard Nimoy said, I'm not going to hit a guy over the head. This is the
Yep.
future.
That's the episode that it happened.
I would do something more elegant. Well, speaking of what happens this episode, Spock acts a little strange this episode.
In
Did you
what
pick
way?
up on it? There's 2 different
Oh,
things he does that's very strange.
wait. Wait. There was one that I noticed. I'm trying to think of what it was, but there was definitely one I was like, that doesn't sound like Spock.
Well, there's 2.
Tell them to me because for some reason I'm having recall trouble.
So the first one is he leers at Yeoman Rand.
I didn't notice that one.
She turns and she's walking off the bridge and he goes,
He's always been that sassy, dude.
that was the checking out ass face, which
Mm-mm.
he's not supposed to be doing.
He's sassy.
He's not sassy. He's
Yes,
usually judgmental.
he's the sassiest guy I've ever seen on that show.
Well, I invite you to try that again. Was the one with the late Terry Garr ever released on VHS and beta? Yes. The answer to both of those questions is yes. I
Mhm.
have both of those,
Ooh.
unless, somebody who stacked them for me got it soaking wet.
Uh-oh.
But hopefully the Terry Garr one is okay.
Are you blaming me?
No.
Are you blaming me?
Why'd you stack them next to the door?
Because you told me to.
I didn't mention where.
You said on the wall.
I know I asked you to build a shelf and then put them up there.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I don't know how to do that.
but this one is in prime condition because I don't think anybody ever even watched these.
It's even got the dog on it.
And these are smaller tapes, so I got them in a shoebox in my closet.
Cool.
The Terry Garr one was I guess this is a side track, but the Terry Garr one was actually a backdoor pilot for Gary Seven, but apparently it wasn't
Oh,
popular enough.
I know that one. That's the one I always skip.
Right, she was like a ditzy.
Yeah, I didn't
I
love
mean, like,
that.
oh my gosh, you want me to get you a coffee? And then there's guys with ray guns.
Mhm.
Sort of that kind of writing.
I wasn't in love with that,
And then Gary Seven was too cool for school.
obviously.
But he did have a great cat, didn't he?
Yeah, that was the best part.
Plus, the cat had a magical necklace.
Sorry, I heard bunny.
Anyway, so Spock is leering at Yeoman Rand, which is
I,
no chance in a billion he would do.
what is the second one? Maybe that's the one I noticed.
The second one is he's talking to McCoy and he's talking about how he deals with his half human, half alien physiology.
What was odd about that? I remember that conversation
Well, why would he call himself an alien?
because it's early Star Trek,
Yeah, but I mean, he's actually pretty precise most of the time. He would have said uh, human Vulcan, not alien.
probably. But at the time, it's like they know aliens. That's the word they know.
So, anyways, there's a problem down on the surface. It's getting cold. They transport up that dog, which I can't remember why. And the dog comes off of the
Did they ever?
transport.
I don't think they did because I
What?
just did a little bit before we started this. I think they just said, "Well, we teleported this dog up."
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't.
know why they did that. Maybe because they found it on a planet and thought it was fun.
Maybe they were gonna experiment or look at it.
Let's hope not.
I hope not either.
Maybe Spock was going to leer at it.
Okay. Yeah, you're stuck on that one.
It's jarring when you see it. So they pull the dog off, and then they say something about the transporter acting weird, so they go to check it, and then another dog shows up,
Yep.
and this one's a little bit of a jerk.
Yeah, this is the jerk one.
So for some reason, they go ahead and beam up the captain.
Yeah, because I think he had something to do. So they were just like,
Well, they
send him.
needed to fix that transporter pad before you would beam up the captain of all people.
Well, they didn't know it was broken yet.
No, they did, because he said, "We better go check this before we beam the captain up." And they started pressing a bunch of buttons.
What is that true?
You just watched it, right?
I just watched it. I'm pretty sure they didn't know it was broken until just a little bit later after he'd already been transported up. And then after that happened, they realized it was broken and realized they couldn't bring the rest of the crew up.
No, because I was thinking how half-assed, yeah, Scotty, how half-assed Scotty was checking it and then going, it probably works, and then bring up the
Okay.
captain.
Well,
I was like, okay. So anyway, the captain comes out and he's a little squirrely, so they cart him off to sick bay, or I guess they're supposed to anyway. They
Mhm.
leave the room. Another Kirk shows up. Only
Best
he's all greasy.
He's greasy and angry, and he's making a look.
He's doing a lot of stuff like this.
Yeah, a lot of
Like he might be half retarded. I didn't understand that choice, but
he looked really intense and evil is what that
right,
was. It was just
right.
a little cartoonish.
Little over the top, but
Yes.
that's what you're gonna get, right?
Mhm.
So then here's where things immediately start cooking. You got Kirk that goes to his room
To relax.
to relax.
To
The
relax.
bad captain makes a beeline for the sick bay
Yep.
and demands some kind of alcohol,
Brandy.
brandy. And it's
One
a big,
bottle.
big bottle,
Yeah.
this big. And he's walking down the hall going,
Oh, I'm drunk.
taking belts off of that. He never acted drunk, but he kept taking belts off of it.
Yeah, but you knew stuff was going bad.
So then something really jarring happens.
Mhm.
He goes into Yeoman Rand's quarters.
Yeah, that's the part I was telling you about. When I first remembered the episode, I'm like, oh yeah, this is the one where she's like, oh, I don't want to get him in trouble or anything.
That was way later.
Yeah.
So anyway, she comes in and he's lurking in the background, and then they start, I guess, wrestling or whatever. He gets her on the floor, pinned.
Mhm.
She's screwed.
Yeah. When she gets out of it.
She does, and she's able to run to the. She scratches his face.
Yep.
She's able to run to the door before he grabs her and yell out in the hall that there's some trouble or they need help. So
Mhm.
luckily there was a worker out there.
There was. Well, usually you got people patrolling.
Yeah, but that guy was more like maintenance. He really wouldn't be hanging around there. It was just luck.
Yeah. And he runs away. The evil one runs away when he starts getting told on after beating up the guy who told.
Right. He pounds that guy.
Yeah,
He
real bad.
gives that guy a nice beating because his fists are bloody after.
Yeah, that's true. And he's like looking at it like,
So the next thing you know, Scott, I'm reading Scotty on the chat. Spock shows up to the captain's quarters
mm-hmm,
and starts asking him about it, saying Yeoman Rand has said you were all liquored up. McCoy said you took it as brandy, and
mm-hmm.
Rand says there was an attempted rape.
And he was like, that was me.
Well, he goes, I think Mr. McCoy or Dr. McCoy is messing with you.
Yeah.
So then Spock looks really annoyed.
Yeah. He's like, I'll tell you, thoroughly annoyed.
So that was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then they get the call that they got Rand and they're gonna get to the bottom of whatever this situation is.
Well, they
They go,
yeoman.
what?
They go talk to the yeoman.
Right, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were getting over to the dog part again.
No, the dog part is, so now that they've figured out there's something really wrong with the transporter,
Mhm.
Sulu and a couple of other dudes are stuck on the surface, and it's there goes another tornado watch.
Okay.
They're stuck on the planet and it's getting super cold.
Yeah. Below
So
30 or yeah, 30 below 0 is what he said.
they need to get up to the ship pretty quick, otherwise they're not going to make it.
And by the way, semi important little detail, the whole reason they figured out, or at least the yeoman started believing him that it wasn't him, was the fact that the other guy has a scratch and the real
But if you look at her face during that, she's like, yeah, and then no. She's still not buying the story.
but that's an important detail just cuz that's the scratch is going to be what separates them from each
Right. Okay, so what major mistake is then made?
other. They go on the speaker and say there's an intruder with a scratch on his face that looks just like
Right.
that was the
Now, here's what I would have done.
okay.
I would have put the captain in the brig,
Yep.
not tell anybody anything,
Yep.
and then wait till somebody spots the captain.
And be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Right, because then there would have been no confusion.
Yeah.
But instead, he gets on the speaker and tells everybody
Yep.
this is what's going on.
And by
And
the way, he's a wuss now.
right. So at that point, Spock is looking at him because he doesn't seem to be very decisive.
He's like, "Oh."
And after observing the dogs, they note that one is docile and the other is crazy.
Yep.
At some point, they realize, okay, there must be the captain must have been split, and there must be a crazy, vicious one,
Yep.
and one who's a real milk toast.
Yeah, we got the wuss with us on our side.
And the theory is that people's personalities are made up of both,
Good and
and
bad.
you can't have one without the other,
Yeah, otherwise you're not a good captain, which is the thing they kept saying. Is you need to
or whatever. Yeah, successful.
gotta have both.
I mean, you could. The captain was so milk toasty that he could barely function.
Yeah.
He couldn't make a decision. Nothing.
He kept asking people to make decisions for him, and his buddies were like, "No. Are you giving up your position as captain?" And he's like, "No."
Yeah, but the other thing they were going like, "Hey, I think we should do this." Okay, and then the other guy would go, "No, no, we should do the opposite." Okay. Then the
Yeah.
first guy would go, "Well, if you do this, this happens." "Oh, well, you're right. Okay, we'll do it your way."
Yeah, just he's a pushover.
Right.
Yeah.
So once the evil captain hears this on the radio, where does he go?
Doesn't he put something to cover up his
He goes to Captain Kirk's quarters and pulls out some makeup.
yeah, because of course Kirk has little
Why would he have makeup?
because what if he gets a little blemish or something?
Very strange, I thought. They could have come up with something else than that, but whatever.
Well, when he pretends to be a woman, he suddenly has a nail file, so, you
So
know,
yeah, that was funny.
yeah,
So he does a very good job with his makeup.
yeah,
So much so that the scratches are completely gone.
which is no.
Little makeup, towel, wipe, gone.
Gone.
So good for him.
Yep,
Then we get to they need to decide how to catch the bad captain.
yep,
Spock and Kirk have a discussion, and it would ask, "Where would you go if you were in this situation?" And he says, "Down into the bowels of the ship."
mhm, true.
Every everybody is doing a search party. Everybody is issued phasers and told that the phasers must be on stun.
Mhm.
Which I don't know why they made a. I guess because they've decided he needs both pieces now.
Yeah, they said we don't know what's gonna happen if we kill the other one, what's gonna happen to you? That's sort of the thing.
No, he'll just be a jellyfish on the floor.
Well, they didn't know that. It's alien stuff. You never know what's gonna happen.
Well, what's weird is in a few episodes, there's another transporter problem, and then all evil people show up,
Yeah, I remember that.
evil copies. So
I like those guys.
Star Trek has used that one a lot.
Yeah. Well, because it's fun.
Right. I don't think Picard ever did that though, right?
They turn into kids.
Yeah, but that was some virus in the
Yeah.
transporter and all that stuff. But I'm talking about when uh Enterprise copied it. I don't think Voyager did. Voyager did their own version of it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't
Sure.
the dark universe, the mirror universe.
Yeah. DS9 did the mirror universe,
Right. And they use that one several times.
and it was fun. I like that one. That's like one of my favorite mirror verses, if you're not counting the original.
And then of course Discovery did it.
A lot. A whole season
Yeah.
was devoted to it.
And more. Section 31 is mirror universe.
True.
So they really liked it. They leaned into that one.
Yeah, it's fun.
So what happens when they get down to the bowels of the ship?
So doesn't the what there was also the incident where the guy with the scratch, he asked somebody for their phaser and they just give it to him because he
Well, he ordered it, yeah.
yeah, 'cause he doesn't have the scratch anymore, so they just listen to him.
Right. So he's got a phaser and then immediately hits that guy over the head.
Yeah, like my favorite move was the, "So how are you doing today?" He does that before he.
What?
So when he asks the gun, he's like, "Here you go." He takes the gun. He's like, "How are you doing today?" And
And then
then,
hits him over the head. Yeah. You cut out is why I said what.
oh, okay. I thought you didn't understand what I was saying.
No, I got it. I remember the scene.
No, I thought that was a good move.
So then Kirk gets down to the area and he sees the other captain. And now one of the captains is clearly a stuntman.
Yeah, I did
I
see
mean,
that.
it's not even close. They even would so brashly when the bad guy gets knocked out, the bad captain, he's on the floor and they show his face.
Yeah.
It's clearly not William Shatner.
They were probably just like, "You probably won't notice."
You probably wouldn't back then, but I certainly
I
noticed today in high definition.
same.
So you'd think that'd be the end of the episode, wouldn't you?
Well, they have sort of that face off. They're like, "Why didn't you attack him or whatever?" And he was like, "Well, I'm a wuss, basically."
Right, but they apprehend him, and
Yeah.
then as he's getting apprehended, the bad one shoots the transporter machine.
Yep.
So now there's a big hole in the machine. So now Sulu is now in very big trouble.
Yeah, like,
And it,
can't even split you to evil, Sulu. You're just gonna be dead.
and at that point, he's already got frost all over his face, and
He looks
the
pretty
fa-
bad.
this is the first time I've ever seen anybody use a phaser to heat up a rock and use it as a campfire.
Yeah, that unique.
Pretty slick.
Pretty slick.
They take the other Kirk to the sick bay and they tie him down.
Yep, true.
So they, at some point, fix the transporter. They're going to try to put him in, but they need to make a decision. Of course, the captain is the good one, cannot make a decision.
Well, they were testing it on the dog, and the dog died, didn't it? When they
Oh,
tried
that's
to
right. I
put it
forgot
back.
that.
So, basically the decision was, are you gonna chance it because 'cause you're gonna be better, or are you gonna die too? And he can't choose. That's the part where he says, "Somebody please make a decision for me."
Right. Which is, again, why didn't he just relinquish command?
Yeah, well, I think it's a principle thing because even Spock was like, "Are you gonna relinquish command?" And he's like, "No."
Right. But we've seen in other episodes that Spock exercises a lot more control.
I think so. I think this.
He wouldn't let that guy run around the ship. There's too many people's lives involved.
Yeah,
But then you wouldn't have there's too many convenient things that happen in this episode to make it possible.
yeah. You kind of have to suspend it a little bit. Your disbelief.
I know, but when you get to Next Generation, none of that stuff happens.
Yeah, but you gotta remember they're just starting out. They're trying to figure out their stuff.
Right, but the show is based on Gene Roddenberry's time in the Navy.
Hmm.
So he knows none of that would fly.
They wanted to have a little bit more fun. Can you blame them?
Well, I mean, I guess so. He might have said, "Oh, this is just TV,"
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess they never thought people would be watching these in reruns or dissect every
Every
frame of the film. Yeah,
They probably just thought they'd see it and move on with their day.
right.
Pretty fair, actually.
I'm trying to think if there were reruns in the '60s.
I wouldn't know.
I know Lucy was the one that
Did reruns.
got that ball rolling.
Hmm.
That's why Desi Arnaz insisted on filming the episodes instead of videotape.
Hmm.
So it was much more expensive to do that, but they did it. That's why when you got that remastered pack, it looks fantastic.
Well, you also gotta remember they didn't have a lot of money, so they probably didn't have the money to do reruns. Cause don't they do they get paid or do they pay? Like, how does that
I don't think there were residual laws back then. I think well, you got paid your week's salary and that was it.
okay. Then I
Where
don't
they where they started really getting paid was when they started doing the movies.
yeah, cause movies make dough.
Well, hopefully. And then of course anything I forget when the law came in, but then
Mhm,
law, the contract with I guess the writers union or SAG after. I don't know how that all works, but apparently it's always in your contract now that you have to be um there's a scale. So your first episode that you film and it's shown on TV or whatever, you get this amount of money. Next
mhm.
time it's shown, you get a lesser amount, and then so on until it goes to zero.
Okay, I got you.
Unless sometimes people can get like a half a percent or a percent of it, like a movie or something, and then forever.
Always have a little bit of it.
Right. Famously, Jack Nicholson did that for the Batman movie. He, instead of taking a big salary, said, I'll take a couple points on this movie.
Mhm.
And apparently he's made near $1 billion.
Smart move.
Smart
It's
move. That was a
having
smart
it
move.
out more consistently, you know?
And even George Lucas in the Star Wars films. Apparently, one of the big reasons he will not let anyone see the original cuts is in his divorce, the wife got a bunch or pieces of the film. She gets
Mhm.
every time it's sold, she gets a cut too. So
Mhm.
apparently, changing it to special editions, she gets nothing
Oh, I got you.
or way less. That's why J.J. Abrams, you see the Star Trek movie or the new Star Wars movies. Notice how C3PO had like a red arm, or the Millennium Falcon was different.
I just saw a show that was, like on the Discover page or whatever, and it
Uh-huh.
said by J.J. Abrams and somebody
Yeah,
else.
right. I can't I'm blanking on that guy's name.
I was on Max when I saw it.
Although Discovery, Brian Fuller gets a cut.
I like Brian Fuller.
Even though they kicked him out before the pilot even aired,
I like that.
he gets a cut of that.
He gets more money for doing better things.
Well, I don't know. He's moving pretty slow on that Friday the 13th show.
Also, young man, we probably need to get back on the Star Trek plot.
Yeah, Brady Bunch didn't get residual, so it wasn't there at that
Uh,
time.
When was that?
I don't even think 80s they got it. I remember the Different Strokes people were pissed. I can't remember when that started. I remember when I remember the story, but I don't remember when it was.
When? Yeah, I can get that.
Anyway, back to Star Trek. So they fix the transporter. Kirk escapes again, yes?
The evil one, yeah.
Okay, go pick it up from there.
And it was so stupid because he goes up to the yeoman. He's like, "Yeah, so he put an identical scratch on me too. I'll tell you all about it."
And that's when she started believing it. She didn't believe it before. She was like looking at him like, yeah, sure, right. But
uh,
then a little confused. After she gets the explanation from the bad one, she's like,
mhm.
okay, cool. But then he starts getting aggressive again, and she's like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, it's the bad one again.
He suggests we go hang out in her apartment later. And
Mhm.
she's a little freaked, but then she's like, well, it's a captain, okay. But
Yeah.
she doesn't look too pleased. So then what happens?
What
Do, 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 do,
goes
do,
on
do, do, do.
he goes on the bridge, the one, and he
Right.
starts tossing people.
He starts giving orders and he says, hey, we're leaving. Sula's never going to make it. Good luck.
Yeah, he says there's no way they're getting out of there. Sticky wicket.
One problem, the good Kirk shows up with bones.
Yep.
Then we get the trope of you got two of the same person. The other guy's got to pick out who's the good one.
which is the best one.
And
Oh,
so Spock just goes, "Oh, well, you guys figure it out."
mhm.
And then they start going at each other, and then it becomes very clear
Who's
who the
who?
bad one is. Yeah.
And
So
Captain!
they cart him off to the transporter. He gets reintegrated, and everybody's happy.
Don't they, like, hug each other?
Well, he's holding them, saying, "Hey, don't." The aggressive one, cornered, turns into a basket case and is afraid.
Uh-huh.
And the other one, the softy, is telling him it's going to be fine. Relax. We're going to go do it. So that was sort of the price you pay for being aggressive. Is apparently you gotta you're like paranoid.
Yeah. That's probably
So
where it's all the bad emotions.
right. So then that's how he gets sort of manipulated into going in.
Yeah.
That is when we cut to the bridge. Our Captain Kirk is back,
Mhm.
and he walks over to the Yeoman, and the Yeoman goes, "Oh, that's okay. The other guy explained it all to me, so everything's cool."
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
That's when she believed.
Finally.
That's why I'm telling you before she didn't believe.
I can't remember. Did he apologize?
He was started to apologize, and she goes, no, she cuts him off.
Mm. I still would have liked the apology, I gotta be honest.
I tell you what, man, I would have transferred her off the ship.
Wasn't his fault.
Well, yeah, but it's going to be weird no matter what.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't even there for any of that. I wouldn't do any of that.
Listen, that's all that space stuff.
Mhm.
You're gonna run into a lot of super weird stuff.
Yeah, it's very true.
So, how many phasers do you give the enemy within?
Out of
Out of five phasers.
out of 5, problem is his acting is so good.
That brings it up. I agree with you. You've
I
got
would
to
gi
add some portion of a phaser onto that.
How about 3.5 phasers?
Oh, so you really liked it.
I think that's a fair number.
See, I would have said because the story sort of needed to be tightened up and lags a bit. I'm going to give it 2.5 phasers.
But you have to think about all the things that made it great.
Listen, if it was not for his acting, you could have been in a 1.5 or 2 phaser.
That probably
Uh,
would have been a episode if it wasn't for his acting.
and
I can
I'm giving points for the ridiculous dog.
Yeah, I'm giving points to that too. It's just all there's silly things in there that I can't overlook.
Also, when they bring Sulu and the other guys up and they're on stretchers, which I thought was very strange. Um, he goes, "Are they going to be all right?" And McCoy goes, "Yeah, I mean they're all frostbitten, but they'll be fine."
There is also the fact that every time Sulu was there, he was giving some sort of smart comment. Did you notice that as well?
Who was?
Sulu.
Sulu was giving smartass comments?
Yeah, he kept like doing these little like one-liners every time he called up.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah, like he's coping with it real
coffee.
well.
You guys gonna send some coffee down here?
Yeah, he said something, yeah, the waiter's late with our coffee or
Yeah, there's a bunch like that, and I noticed it because he every time he was on screen, it turned into that.
right, and every time he did that, I'd be like, "Okay, let's just leave him.
Yeah.
He's a wise guy."
Too much.
Anyway, frostbite is a serious condition.
Well, now they know how to fix it because it's the future.
Well, I guess that's possible that they can reverse the tissue damage. Usually, they have to cut your toes and fingers off.
Well, once again, modern medicine.
Or pieces of your face. Ni
Modern
akazin iron.
Hassan.
Not a not 100% grasping that,
Me neither.
but I'm glad you're here.
Mhm.
So that's all I have to say about The Enemy Within. What do you have to say?
That's all I got. I'll take my answer down for all the plot holes to a 3 phasers. How does
All
that sound?
right.
Does that
Yeah,
sound
they were acting pretty weird.
does that sound fair?
Yep. Well, it's your number, so it doesn't matter.
I'll do it a 3. You did a 2.5, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Just because of all the like Spock leering, you got to lose points.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I'm not really going to hold the half human, half alien against him, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I suppose. There are a few episodes that I really like and I'll have a stronger opinion on. This one was
Sure.
it was good. That was it.
I think it was good, not great.
Good, not great. That's
All
my
right.
rate.
Who's up next?
I don't know. You have the production list, don't you?
No, not anymore. I sent
Don't
it to you, remember?
I thought you had the beta tapes. I'm gonna have to leave the chat for just a second.
All right. Well, if I go get the beta tapes, I'll be gone 10 minutes. There's a whole filing system. They're not exactly easy to pull out of there because they're all stacked in a shoebox. Here, I'll let you look at the back of the tape while we're waiting for the what's next. Although I doubt you can read it because we're forced to do it backwards. Yeah.
Can you hear me? The Man Trap.
Which I believe was the first episode shown.
That's the salt guy, right?
Right. Or
Okay, I
maybe
know.
that was the first one that was filmed. It's something that was the first. I think it was the first one filmed, but they didn't like it, or I can't remember. It was one of those things.
It was something like that. That's the one with the guy who eats salt.
That's the one where, again, the next generation used it. I guess I
Mhm.
don't want to give away anything in case people want to watch it, but The
They
Man Trap is something you should be watching before we see you. Yeah, probably a week from Sunday, right?
week from oh wait, I probably won't be there. It's my birthday.
What does that mean?
I'm not doing a show on my birthday. I got my friends coming over.
Your birthday's on a Sunday?
Yes.
How many birthdays are we gonna have for you?
Sunday.
I can count 8 celebrations for that birthday already.
Also, I'm celebrating over here and it doesn't even have anything to do with you. Yeah.
I'm pretending my camera froze.
It looked like you were frozen.
Oh, it worked then.
Yeah, you did it.
Maybe I could be an actor.
Well, all I know is I'm having my friends over, probably gonna play some video games, and it's gonna be great.
No, good for you, Jack.
That's all I wanted.
I don't know that I have anything else to say.
We got PSB tomorrow.
Right. You better remind me too.
Part 2.
Apparently, I'm on the Beat After Beat show tomorrow too.
Cool.
I was drafted for the potato chip eating thing, but I'm not really sure what I'm going to do because I'm not eating the potato chips.
Maybe you're there for the fun comment.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, people love my wise guy. He called me out the other day. What day was that? I think it was
Thank you,
Tuesday.
sir.
He said something like, "You are so different when you get on here." Because it's just joke, 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 joke.
Yeah, that's all you do.
Well, I'm trying to get people to smile. That's all.
Yeah,
That's all I'm trying to do.
that's good.
That's all I want to do. So I try to get people to smile.
I do like making people laugh.
All right. So I guess I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m.
And you're coming late Sunday because why?
because I gotta go to the mechanic Monday
Right. But why is it late Sunday?
because we're moving the bed frame.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
You'll be fine.
Well, it would sure be nice if we could get that laser dish show over with.
You're trying to get 3 days out of me?
Well, I'll just tape the laser disc show.
Oh, I can do that when I show up.
Right.
It
The
probably
whatever the name of that was, what was it called? Trading Places.
yeah,
And
true.
then we still got the special invitation to watch the Voyager documentary.
Yeah, there's that. And we're gonna be busy.
Yep. Busy, busy.
All right.
All
Well,
right,
I'll see
champ.
you tomorrow, champ.
Have a beautiful evening. I want to thank everybody who showed up, especially MVP, AC. Yeah, see, she likes my jokes.
I know.
By the way, you were accused of being a possible troll on
Me?
Tuesday. Yep.
For what?
Because nobody realized you were 22.
Oh, I said, "See you at the show, PSB," all this stuff.
Right, but there was some speculation. I can't remember what you said, but
I think I was clowning on you, which is what I do normally.
oh, okay.
I
See,
think that's
I don't even notice.
oh, well, there you go.
You got away with that one.
I got
Okay, well,
see ya.
okay, bye. I don't know how to turn this off, but bye. So long, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for finally part two of Pet Shop Boys release. Boy, that feels like a year ago we started that, but okay, it'll be tomorrow.